Time now for Futures in Focus. WTI crude is at its highest since November. Joining us now from the CME, Brian Battle, Director at Performance Trust Capital Partners. Brian, nice to see you. Oil's been rising of late, yet the global economy appears to be slowing. How much higher can oil go if we continue to see this kind of data?
Great question, Guy. Let's take a little bit of context, too, here. Remember, the stock market and the oil market collapsed in the fall, and we're just recovering back. It's interesting. The high and the low on West Texas Intermediate was 75 in October, and the low was 42 in December for the year. So we had a huge collapse in the price of oil in the fall, along with stocks. Where are we now? We have good supply story coming out of the U.S. The U.S. is pumping it out, and OPEC is cutting back a little bit. So supply is getting managed, but as you just indicated, it's going to be demand. Short term, we are captive to the U.S.-China trade negotiations because that is going to explain global GDP going forward.
It's going to sound like a bit of a strange question and may come from left field. What are we pricing in terms of OPEC supply right now? Because I was talking to some people about Nigeria, for instance. They're worried that we're going to see potentially, as a result of the deferred election there, some production problems. Is kind of OPEC going to over-deliver on its supply cuts by either design or by politics getting in the way?
Yeah, OPEC is notoriously and for decades unreliable, and they lie and they cheat about their production numbers. Their members do. As a group, they all agree. But so you have some unreliable actors like can Nigeria be held? Will Venezuela come back online? Will people follow the Iranian embargo? So all those supply questions are around the corners. What will Saudi Arabia do, and will the Russians cooperate, is the real question. The Saudis are cutting productions. Numbers just came out. They cut 700,000 barrels from 6.2 to about 700,000 barrels cut back. So if the Saudis are willing to cut back production, that will help the supply picture short-term and long-term. But the U.S. is just filling in that gap wherever it remains. So our question on oil prices are not going to be about supply. It's all going to be about demand.
OK, final question. Does the dollar keep going higher?
It can, because it looks like the trade negotiations are going well. My prediction for trade negotiations is we are so close to March 1st. I think we're going to get another extension, and that should be relief for stock, bond, and equity markets. Things to watch. Watch the bond market. They're not pricing in inflation or higher GDP. We're below 3% on the 30-year. Bond market doesn't believe it, that there's going to be growth in global GDP.